their receivers limit that offense, and their defense has just been very underwhelming, especially tackling. And our offense is the absolute wrong team to be bad at tackling against. Like
we have faced, running back duos that are far more explosive this year. And I wouldn't say as physical, but far more explosive. So, if you want to use your run game to lean on us, there's not been a single team this year that's been able to do that. So if you think that that's going to win you the game, you're just going to be able to meticulously drive down the field a bunch of times. It's just not going to work. You're going to have to stretch us with some explosives. And, you're trying to do that with small receivers. So Velling, to your point, is probably going to be a huge guy, but I just don't see how they're going to be able to.
So next week is a big week. Like I said, we're in the thick of that gauntlet, and we haven't lost yet. I can't believe it. It's amazing. We're 10-0, but we're going to Corvallis to play Oregon State. Oregon State, I think, is ranked 10th in the new AP. Let me look real quick. Yeah, they jumped up 2 spots in the AP. We'll know where they're at tomorrow in the CFP. But we're not going to any place easy. And I know, looking at the Oregon stats, DJ's played really solid. He's got 2,200 yards. He's got 20 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. He's only completing 58% of his passes. But you also have Martinez, who's already over 1,000 yards and has 7 touchdowns. The backup's got 497 and another 5 touchdowns. And then DJ's got 6 touchdowns himself. So this isn't going to be an easy task going into Corvallis and getting a win. Hood, when you're looking at this Oregon State team and how they match up with UW, what are the first things that pop out to you? What do you think UW's going to have to do to get the win here?
Tackle. If there's anything that, we couldn't tackle Devon Vele, who doesn't have much rack ability. You know what I mean? Now you run in a bunch of Oregon State receivers that are diminutive, but at that same token, they know how to make people miss, and at a pretty above average level. So if you're not breaking down, you're going to get dead legged and embarrassed. So you're definitely going to have to break down and tackle. Use your size, use your length. At the end of the day, I would love to see our DBs in all of these guys' chests and forcing them to win these one-on-ones. So I would say if there was any advantage they have is that they do have some really shifty wide receivers and finally a quarterback that can give them the ball. I don't remember how to pronounce their elite offensive tackle's name, but that's going to be another nice little matchup for Braylon and ZTF to kind of get some NFL tape on as well. So great offensive line and some really good weapons on the outside. Yeah.
Okay. Izzo?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're, that left tackle that they have is a stud, like first round probably. Yeah, he's definitely going to the league. I think Oregon State's susceptible on the other positions on the offensive line, and I think this has got to be a big game for Thule. And so you hope that he's back up to 100% or close to it. I know 2 games ago they had him on a pitch count. This game they kind of increased that pitch count. He was for a lot of snaps on this in this game. You need him to get home, and you need to be blitzing up the middle on DJ and get him uncomfortable and get him outside. And to Hood's point, your DB's got to stay home and stay disciplined, and that's just for the pass game. This is one of the more balanced offenses. This is gonna be the closest thing, maybe Oregon's offense that we're gonna see. It's different, but it's balanced, and they got multiple running backs, and so we're not going to get a break. And we have to jump out early, so your offense is going to have to be on point. Like I think this is the key stat for the game. I think we have to score 40. Like if you want to just make sure that you get the W on the road, and you're at Reeser, like it's going to be cold. We got to show up in all facets. So yeah, I do think this defense that Oregon State has, we've talked about it all year. They've lost a ton. They don't tackle as well. And so for me, I think this is going to be one of those games. Can you score with us? And it's got to be, we can't go 5 for 14 or whatever it was on 3rd down in this game. Like, so Man, I'd be being dishonest with you if I wasn't a little bit nervous about this one based off of last game. Now, if the second half's defense shows up for this and we get that, we make those adjustments early and we play within ourselves early in this game, we can jump out to a 24-14, 24-17 lead in the first half. If they're playing from behind and we make them play to our game, this is arguably the most important game to jump out early in. And so that's what I think about this game.
Great call.
I think everybody kind of knows that Oregon can run the ball. Martinez is a phenomenal running back. What I think is not is known, and I think is one of the most important aspects that I think Dom Hampton specifically is going to have to handle here, is their tight end, Jack Velling. He's a good 6'4", 241. He's only got 27 catches for 418, but he's got 8 touchdowns. Yeah. And what that tells me is that when the team start creeping up and getting in the box to stop the run, they go right over the seams, and you got Velling right in the back of the end zone and right behind your linebackers and stuff like that. So playing discipline, but also I think this is a place where you're going to have to see Dom really step up, because he's a big guy, 6'4", he's good size, and he catches touchdowns, man. 8 touchdowns for a tight end. I don't know if that's leading the Pac-12 maybe in tight ends, but that's something that they're going to have to definitely watch out for. And like I said, when you're watching the run, because you're going to have to, they're going to do some play fakes and try to go to him.
They torched Stanford, man. Torched them.
Uh-huh.
Like they take advantage of mismatches better than just about anybody, man. Like
Jonathan Smith, man.
If you roll through their schedule, just go look at the scores of their schedule. They thrash bad defenses, so you cannot beat one of those.
This is true. And I mean, you got to give DJ a lot of props too. I mean, he's had a really solid year, and keeping the turnovers down, I know, was big for him, and he's doing that. Only 4 interceptions this year. I'd like to see that completion percentage higher if I was if I'm the head coach. But now let's look to the other side of the ball, and Izzo, I'll stay with you on this one. These guys are known for their defense. They're known for playing hard-nosed defense. I think they have am I seeing that right? They have 36 sacks this year.
I do think it's up there. I definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. 36 sacks on the season. Interceptions, they have 12 INTs. I mean,
I think they're leading the pack in that too.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they have 6 fumble recoveries there. I mean, what is UW's defense or UW's offense going to have to do to get in front of this? Because this isn't going to be easy. This is going to be second week where we're playing a defense that's elite.
I don't think you change. I think you play the game that you played when you're not thrown into the wind. Like, just do what you guys do good. Like, this is not – they got probably a good defensive line. From my standpoint, our offensive line is built to pass protect, and they've kind of shown that this year. And I think that we can still win a lot of those battles. Maybe if you have to move the pocket more often, if you've got to disguise moving the pocket with Mike actually running the ball. And, we picked up on that this week where instead of on the RPO, Mike is actually taking the carry on the RPO. Do those things, confuse that front seven as much as you can. But I expect that they're going to be trying to bring pressure and make Mike uncomfortable. And so, this is the type of scenario where Ryan Grubb makes his money, man. Like, this is where you are scheming wide receivers open and getting creative with tight ends and spreading the ball around. Like, keep them guessing, because I'd like to say that this is a DJ game, but I really do, like a Dylan Johnson game, but I really do think that this is on the pass game. And I think you don't need to make any major changes. Like, you've got the playmakers. I don't care how we should be playing our game. Don't let them dictate what we do.
Hood?
Yeah, I think that's done and done in regards to that passing game. I think, number 10 is a really good feather to put in your cap. I've always thought that this year, specifically in the Pac-12, like, styles make fights. And I definitely feel like the end of the game with Utah. The final score was not indicative of how the game flow went in the second half. Obviously with the gaff and stuff, but I think this is another one of those ball control, run first teams that, when they face a serious, real offense, they're going to be taken out of their game. And one thing I was kind of mentioning earlier is just executing early. If we're able to get out early by 7 or even score first, right? 7, get up by 10. And I think this game can really be, it can turn into a nice little blowout, in my opinion. If you go ahead and look up and down Oregon State's schedule, I'm thinking of that Cat Williams. Don't worry, I'll wait. Go look up and down their schedule, bro, and you tell me what offense they've played, and I'll show you where they've lost.
Yeah, no kidding. No Oregon, no UW.
You face Wazoo, struggle with that offense early in the season when they were hitting on all cylinders and believing in their team. You face Arizona State. Now there were some penalties laid and some gaps and stuff like that, but that's an offense that you couldn't, or that you necessarily couldn't stop, and you only put up 24 on them. And they're only a little bit better, I think, scoring defense than us. So at the end of the day, I definitely feel like this is one of my favorite little sayings is I think this one's a barbecue chicken alert.
For real.
For real. And being top 10 only helps.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think that you're right, but I think I want to take a point that you had said in the previous segment. We're talking about where's to improve, where you're like, hey, they went on 9 passing plays in a row. I think it's starting quick and fast and going up top quick, but also keeping that balance where we're maintaining the run game, keeping them guessing. So when we do take those big hits, we have them maybe creeping up, thinking we might do something close to the line of scrimmage, and then have us run right over them and throw it over their heads. So I think the balance, and I think another big thing is limiting those penalties. This is a team that's going to take advantage of the dumb mistakes, and if we make them, it's going to be hard to get back. Especially we have no idea what the weather's going to be like, and we saw what the weather did with Penix. It took him from being a 65-70% completion guy down to 50-something% quarterback, and we might need to be better than that against Oregon State, because I think Oregon State is better than Utah.
What is the weather for this game, by the way?
That's going to be important for sure.
It is going to play, and I'm looking it up right now.
That's going to be important for sure. There's a foot speed issue. You know what I mean? For them,
it's supposed to be raining on Saturday. Supposed to be raining with an 8-mile-per-hour wind, 54 degrees.
That's fine.
That's football weather, baby.
Yeah, yep, we should be in Seattle. If as long as it ain't that 25-mile-per-hour winds that we were facing the other day, which was crazy. Like you could see the referees' jerseys and stuff blowing in the wind. I was like, wow. And
it was windy, bro.
Yeah, it was definitely rough. All right. Anything else we want to holler about with Oregon State before we move on?
No, I just said one last little button piece. Like, I think the trend of this segment for us against Oregon State seemed to be a lot about discipline, or not about the Oregon State game in particular, but like our areas of improvement. Discipline, man.
Yep.
Like there's little things like I was under the impression that the reason why we missed that kick towards the end of the game was because we got blown out up front. But and
Lakers were in too.
Gross has been nails this whole year, but he kicked a line drive like right off the back of the offensive line. Like, I don't know what happened on that play, but those little things, man.
The laces were in. I watched like directly in, and that's what he hit it on. And I know that it was a high snap. It was that one might have been on the long snapper that time, but it is what it is.
And then my final thing on them is we have faced running back duos that are far more explosive this year. And I wouldn't say as physical, but far more explosive. So, if you want to use your run game to lean on us, there's not been a single team this year that's been able to do that. So if you think that that's going to win you the game, you're just going to be able to meticulously drive down the field a bunch of times. It's just not going to work. You're going to have to stretch us with some explosives. And you're trying to do that with small receivers. So Velling, to your point, is probably going to be a huge guy, but I just don't see how they're going to be able to
Hood, you're the guest. We'll let you go first, man. What do you see how do you see the game playing out? What's your score?
Ooh, whiskey. I kind of look back at, watching them, and I watched them versus Arizona, less Wazoo, only because that was super early. But I watched them versus Arizona, and I definitely feel like it's going to be tough for them to get past that 24, 27 point threshold. So I got 38-24. I got the 2-possession game. I think we get out early. I even think we get we haven't had a lot of them, but a sack fumble or or interception, some type of return for a touchdown or big play on defense, for sure. So I think it's a 2-possession game. Those receivers are way too small in my opinion. And if you're not accurate and you got small receivers, it's really easy to throw turnovers. So,
all right, Izzo?
Yeah. Man, that's a great call. I almost want to pick that exact score, but I won't. just be different, because that's how I feel too. I do think Oregon State is going to give you, like we face every week, they're going to give you everything, and Jonathan Smith's going to go to the depths of the playbook to pull out something that's going to be, put up points on UW. So I see let's go 42-30 flat, something like that. Hood convinced me too. He's got a good point. Their receivers limit that offense, and their defense has just been very underwhelming, especially tackling. And our offense is the absolute wrong team to be bad at tackling against. There's going to be guys running loose. We'll see if their defensive line can put that same pressure on one, maybe the best offensive line that they've played this year. So, yeah, I just don't think they match up well with us. Straight
Agreed.
up, that's just how it is.
Agreed.
We're just the wrong recipe for what they're going to be trying to do. So,
all year I've been picking with UW and them scoring hella points. Seeing what the weather is going to be and seeing how I've been picking, I'm going to go the opposite this way. Hopefully, I'm playing a joke on fate right now, where I see it being this final score being 30-21.
I like that.
Yeah, 30-21. I see it being a nail biter till probably the fourth quarter, where you see some sort of a big touchdown, whether it's us going up top and it changing the game from a 24-21 game to that 30-32, whatever the points might be. I'm gonna say 30-21, and UW comes out with the victory, but we all grow 5 or 6 years older watching that game. Get a little bit gray hairs and stuff like that.
To your point, man,
black, baby, jet black.
To your point, it feels. I mean, let's see if this defense can rally off of that second half, man. That's what's being called upon them. Maybe they put this thing together, and now those depth pieces do have that experience. So let's see what happens, man. You might be onto something there.
We all had 2 possessions, so we all kind of feel I'm on the high end of 2 possessions. There's a 9 is a small end of the 2 possessions, so we all got 2 possessions.
Yeah.
Now, before we close out the show, Hood, I want to ask you this since you're a guest on here. How has this been for you watching this Husky season? Because you're a young buck, and I know you were probably just being born when the '91 team happened. So maybe you saw the Rose Bowl in 2000 as a little kid. But this is the best team in over 30 years. How have you enjoyed watching Husky football this year? Being that we're almost at the end of the season, we're still undefeated.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. I know one thing that a lot of my Twitter followers have seen is I'm spending my money going to see these guys. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, these are memories that I want to be a part of and share them with. That's why, it was nothing to accept the invitation. This is something that, when I want to look back on and, share with, my nieces, my nephews, my cousins that I've taken to the games and things like that. I want to be like, hey, man, remember that time where we went to the national championship game that year and I took you to the Utah game, or I took you to the, so I'm definitely taking it serious and sharing the moment with a lot of the people because it is a memorable experience. And the ride has been amazing, man. It's also big for the city.
For sure.
How many people, how much, was the CD on display when Mish made that big play versus Arizona State? A lot of people probably didn't know the history of the area or, you know, the significance of the area when it comes to talent or even that he was from that area or his story of being a walk-on, you know. So kind of putting the certain neighborhoods on the map as well. So that's what it means to be a hometown hero. And we got a whole bunch of these guys representing, you know, Seattle to the fullest and in a great way too.
There's no better way to reestablish yourself in your own home city than by competing for a national championship and having the spotlight on you regularly. And I think we're really doing that. You know, hey Hood, I'm really thankful that you came on. Man, you're always welcome.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you for accepting the invite, brother. Appreciate
you
you,
guys.
man.
Make sure you guys go follow Hood on Twitter. He got great takes, and if you're a Husky fan and you want to jump in on some Oregon Ducks or some Cougs, Hood is the guy that's leading the charge along with Izzo and Noah, myself, and everybody else in Husky Twitter.
Man.
Like I said, you guys, if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing here, make sure you hit us with a like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. Also join the Discord. You guys have heard, you know how I feel about it. It's the best place for Husky information anywhere on the internet. The link is down in the bio. Also, go make sure you join the Twitter. That link is in the bio as well. For myself, for Izzo, for Hood, for Noah, get better soon. We'll see you quick.
Get better, brother.
Dubbed up. Yep. Go Dogs.
Go
Dogs, baby.